Now, there's a conversation ongoing among Black American women here in the United States about their lives in this era of empowerment. A recent joint survey by a major newspaper and health institution has brought this conversation to the forefront of the nation's consciousness. A recent discussion was held at Howard University in Washington based on the findings of a nationwide poll titled "Peeling Back the Labels: Black Women in America." The mostly Black women in attendance say they were pleased with the findings that countered negative and often false stereotypes about them.
Too often, African-American women, African women, women of African ancestry, we're not always written into the contemporary dialogue, and people don't always want to know what our story is. And so I think it's really important for us to be able to talk about the complexity of our lives and the strengths that we really do have as women of African ancestry.
The survey of more than 800 Black women by the Washington Post and the Kaiser Family Foundation found many of them have higher self-esteem and less stress than white women, and many believe this is a good time to be an African-American woman in America. Many say racism remains a big problem and still feel the economic system is stacked against blacks. On the issue of careers, the survey found that, unlike white women, many Black women are placing a higher priority on their career over family. Krista Thompson of the Post helped with the poll questions.
Black women, didn't think that marriage was as important as career. So I really wanted to probe that and really talk to Black women about what their ideas of success are. So aside from the survey and follow-up interviews, I heard from many women that while they didn't have control over marriage, they felt that they had more control over their careers.
Krista Lee of New York, who works as a social worker in the Washington area, says it is something she's grappling with, being 31, unmarried, and without children.
Of course, I want to be advanced in my career, but I also want a family, and I think that is extremely important for me. Not that it makes me who I am, but being a mother and being a wife is extremely important to me.
Howard University student Mobosola Ashampala of Nigeria says she relates to the results of the survey as far as the value that Black women place on faith and religion, along with worrying about their finances. But she says, as an African woman, it's instilled in her that having children out of wedlock is not embraced and that a career should not trump marriage.
Marriage is held to such a high standard. I just turned 20 years old on February 2nd, and already people are talking to me about, you need to get married in, 5-6 years and still concentrate on your education. So we're taught that, okay, go to school, get an education, but know that we expect you to get married.
With so many African women now living in America, attitudes toward career, family, religion and finances are changing. Panelist Rahel Tesfamariam of Eritrea, founder of an online lifestyle magazine, says it is harder for Africans to stay on a traditional path because of the challenges that confront them in the U.S.
When I look at the issues that women face in the African diaspora, a lot of times political and economic issues take precedence. So more intimate conversations about how we see our bodies, how we relate to one another, our desires related to marriage, those things are in the backdrop because we have more pressing issues.
Universal among all women panelists resolved is their changing roles in society. With many choosing not to marry, divorce rates rising, and more women raising children alone or caring for extended families, many are feeling stressed out over their financial obligations. Panel moderator and finance expert Michelle Singletary says faith and good financial management goes a long way for many women.
I work with women in West Africa, in Ghana, in Senegal, and Gambia, who had small enterprises, trying to eke out a living. And they inspired me because here they are, just trying to make do with a little bit. And they got it right. You just got to start small and do enough to take care of your family.
Well, joining us now for more discussion on the empowerment of Black women in America is Margaret Dureke, an internationally known empowerment speaker and author of personal and development books. Ms. Dureke is also a native of Nigeria. It's so good to have you in the studio with us.
My pleasure.
So I know you read the report and I saw you nodding your head on some of the points that the women raised. Give me your assessment of the situation.
Thank you so much for having me in the first place. I think it's a topic that is well overdue, and I'm glad somebody brought it to the forefront. Because for myself, sometimes it's very conflicting, because I came here right out of high school. And sometimes I'm like, am I an American or am I a Nigerian? You get it? Mm-hmm. So then the culture clash comes in. So every single report has some merit to it. But the question is from whose perspective and what is leading to the belief system. You follow me? So for me, because I kind of made it in a way, because in our culture, in Nigerian culture, which is peculiar with a lot of neighboring African countries. It could be called Gambia, Liberia, but at the end of the day, the cultures are very similar. And the contention is whether or not marriage should be forefront. From African perspective, a woman that is not married, they don't care how many degrees you have, nothing matters.
So let me just jump in now. As you say in your bio, as a happily married mother of 3.
Yes.
What is your take on the report's position on that? And as women are becoming more professionally astute and they're making that kind of decision, what does it say really about what people expect out of a marriage and what the whole professionalism is supposed to bring into it or take out of it?
The reason why this is a very complex question, but I'll take it from a personal perspective and from what I've heard a lot of women talk about. As a founder of Women Empowered to Achieve the Impossible organization, I come in contact with women from all walks of life. Every single woman you talk to would have a different answer to it that would stem from the kind of family they came out of. For me, when I left Nigeria, I promised my mom that I wasn't going to go too far and I'm going to get married. One of the issues that I'm finding is some of the girls, I have a 22-year-old who just graduated from college, and we're talking about it. She's now adopting.
Like the 20-year-old was
exactly. See, because the thing now, they're conflicted between the culture their parents brought into the relationship and the culture of America, which is the Black American woman, again, depending on who you talk to, would say, well, I'm strong, I can hold my own, you know, I don't need no man to define me. But the question is, do you need a man in your life to define you? Or do you need a man to complete you in the sense that you have some kind of balance, somebody to talk to, somebody to support you?
So are you saying that there's some kind of a misunderstanding or there's a misnomer about what is it that you're supposed to get in a marriage?
Exactly, because some people have different, if you talk to 20 women, they will give you different reasons as to why marriage is important or isn't. Sometimes it could be something they wanted but couldn't achieve. So as time erodes, they now begin to define it differently from what they had thought originally.
Let me ask you something. You're a powerful Black African woman. What is the role now of a Black man in a society where women are claiming their stake economically, academically, professionally, socially, everywhere? Yeah, but
that is also changing radically, because the perspective of a Black woman or an African woman who lives in the diaspora and the one who lives, say, way in the village, their perception is totally different. For instance, now, like in the Nigerian community, most of the men are looking for the nurses. Most of them don't even want to do anything. They adopt into some, we don't know where it came from. Most of them now are depending on the women to be the breadwinners in the home. So again, it really varies on what the person is looking for, what led to the belief system. For me, my husband and I bring our children up that they should approach life from a position of strength. No matter what life hands them, they will be able to find goodness in it. In other words, let me say one more thing. When I have a Juris Doctorate degree in law from American University, so everyone around me, when I was getting ready to graduate from Howard, everyone's like, oh, you need to get married because when you go to law school, those men are not going to want you because they're going to think you're too strong. You follow me? So this has been going on for a very long time. They have to step up. But first of all, if you're secure in yourself and you have goodness to share, a man that is secure in himself will not be afraid of you. Okay, my husband exemplifies that for the past 25 years and counting.
Well, this conversation will continue. All right. Well, I see why you've got all those titles. Margaret Dureke joins us here on In Focus. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Okay, we'll have you back again.